Hey guys, BJ the Brave here, back with another deck guide for you. And guys, this time we are going to be playing a Dragon Ramp deck. Now, for those who've been following the channel, I didn't actually play much Dragon in set 1. Storm Dragon wasn't really my thing, and I really wanted to play Ramp, but unfortunately it just wasn't very good in the first set. And I actually think that with the release of the new cards, the Ramp Dragon deck is not only incredibly fun to play, and it's got some brilliant new tools that have been added, but I actually think it's pretty powerful now. It's also a pretty good counter to aggro. So what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to talk you through the deck list, and then we're going to jump into some games to really show off some of the things, some of the lines of play, basically, that we are talking about. So let's jump on in and take a look. All right, so what we're trying to do, as the deck is named Fennie Ramp, is we're trying to get to this card as quick as possible so that we play this and then half the cost of the rest of the cards in our deck. Now, anyone who's played Spell Boost Rune, right, knows how powerful Declimb is. Why? Because it essentially cheats the mana system, right? It breaks the mana system. It stops being fair. And that's exactly what Fennie does as well. Now, it's not quite as explosive initially as Declimb can be, but what it certainly is it breaks the mana curve over a series of turns and just enables you to pretty much outvalue almost anything in the game at that point. So, what we're obviously going to be doing is playing a lot of big units. Let's take a look at how we actually get there. So in the early game, we want to be looking for those ramp cards, right? So we've got triple Dragon Sign, of course, and triple Louis Fang. And what's really interesting is, say you get like Louis Feng off, if you're going second and you've got the coin, that means that you'll actually be able to use the coin to draw out a turn 7 player the turn after. And so we have quite a lot of turn 7 cards there because of that. In addition, in the early game, we do play double strike of the Dragon Newt for a bit of removal against aggro. And we also play double Ruby Cherub, which is actually a really good card in this deck because what it does is you can actually play it on turn 2 to put a 2/2 body down and give yourself another chance at finding one of the ramp cards. Equally, obviously, you can use it to, for example, put back something that's like quite expensive in your hand because you want it to then get the discount from when you play Fennie and things like that. So yeah, Ruby's actually got quite a few interesting lines of play in this deck. Now, we do run the Phylene as well, which can obviously act as a removal, but also can be pretty good, for example, against Forest, using the White Frost Whisper to make the hand more expensive, can really disturb those sort of combo decks. So quite a nice option there. And then what we run is the Marine package. Now, guys, this is one of the things that I think makes Ramp really, really playable this season, which we didn't have in set 1. And what we have are the Orcas. Now, the Orcas come down, and they are essentially 2/2s, with Rush, right? And there's loads of ways we can get them. We can get them from this 2-drop spell, and if it's in Overflow, we get an additional one. We also have the Seasoned Merman, where we get 2 copies. If we evolve, we get a 3rd copy. And then we also get Neptune. And once we played the first Neptune, suddenly all the Orcas that we play then actually heal us. So this deck has phenomenal amounts of heal, which is another reason that makes it so good against aggro, because you've got Olivia that can heal. You've got all of the Orcas, your Dragon Strike, for example, not Dragoncraft, sorry, the ones we're just on about, Neptune, Column Orca, and Seasoned Merman. Seasoned Merman, by the way, Dragon have finally got their 5-drop, right? Like, all of the classes have that 5-drop, don't they? Like the sort of Anangria type, the Glade Warden guy in Forest, you know, those 5-drops that just stabilize the board. And yeah, this is Dragons. So, it's just making me want to play some more. It's a really fun deck, this one, guys. So we ramp up early, and then into the late game, we then just start dropping bombs. And we've got things like the Golden Note Melody, which is a great card in this deck because essentially in the late game, this might cost 2 or 1, and it draws 2 cards, but it draws really cheap cards, so we can draw into these like mega combos, or like almost like mini declimbs at that point. Similarly with Olivia, you can get a discounted Olivia for like 4, and then she draws things that have been discounted. Genesis Dragon's only costing 5, and that means that if we get 2 of these in hand, we can essentially do we can essentially kill someone on full health with one super evo left, right? So that's really awesome. And as I say, we want to get a Neptune down as soon as possible. Twilight Dragon's great in this meta, especially with things like the new, not William, what's he called? Norman, is it? From Runecraft, and also the Ward Havens as well. Twilight Dragon is just such a phenomenal answer to those boards, just deals with anything. It doesn't care about barriers as well. Very good against Sword right now. I'd say Twilight Dragon's in a really, this is like the meta for Twilight Dragon. It's a very, very good card, and especially a very good one that only costs 5 because it's been discounted, or that you ramped into and you've been able to play early. So this is the deck, guys. We're trying to ramp up as soon as possible. We want to get that Neptune down, and we want to get that Fennie played as early as we can so that we can start to get the value. So let's jump into some games now and see what this deck can do. All right. So I've got a phenomenal game here for you against Portalcraft. So we're looking hard for those ramps. We only keep Ruby. You could throw the Ruby because you could be like, well, that's another chance at getting one. But then I kind of think, well, it's a similar thing when you play it anyway, right? It gives you one chance of getting one. The only difference is you actually have a 2-drop to play on turn 2. So I don't mind keeping Ruby in this deck. So we're going to play the Ruby out and just dig. So far, no Dragon Sign, but we do have the Louis Feng in hand. Now, the other thing with Louis Feng is that you do have to think about, you know, playing it on the turn when you can actually evolve. So, kind of coining Louis Feng out early doesn't actually give you much of a bonus, to be honest. Plays down the Veer. So at the minute he is kind of like, yeah, he's causing us a little bit of trouble. We did have to use the extra player point to kill one of the drops, because we don't want to get aggroed down too early, right? So down comes Louis Feng, and obviously gets the ramping with the Evo. We're not too worried about losing a bit of health because we've got quite a lot of heal in this deck, but we've just got to be careful we don't get completely overwhelmed in the start. This is the problem with like using the player point early, though. We talked in the deck guide that you often want to save it so that you can get into the 7-drop. So we would have been able to play a 7-drop this turn if we'd saved the player point, but we just kind of needed to deal with that aggro because he did a good job of pressuring us, so we weren't able to do it. Now, we actually make an interesting play there, because I actually feel like I would have probably gone with, should have probably gone with a Neptune, to be honest. But we used the AoE and we made Olivia cheaper in hand. Now, because he's gone with this humongous board, we have to change up what we were originally going to do. And we decide to Neptune here. We can't actually afford to Fennie just yet. But Neptune's a really great answer to this board. Look at this. We've got the super Evo to kill the big one. And then we've perfectly got the 4 Orcas to take out the 2 4/4s. And of course, don't forget, you get a shed load of heal for each one of those Orcas that came down. So we're already back up to 18 health after taking quite a bit of severe early game pressure. Now, I'm just at this stage wanting to try and get the Fennie online, right? We just need to get Fennie into the game and start getting these things discounted, and then we're into a pretty good place. Okay, so we decide to go ahead and play Fennie down. Now, it's a little bit risky because we leave the 5/5 up, but you've kind of got to find the turn where you think you can get away with playing her. It's a slow turn when you play her, but obviously the rest of the game's going to be amazing. So we figured that we could kind of take the damage to face. He's out of Super Evo, so he didn't have the Orcus. And now we can start to play. We get the free Evo there. We actually go with Olivia, and now Olivia's going to draw into discounted units. So we see the Seasoned Merman coming out for only 3 cost. And this is when the deck just starts to feel really good, guys. Like, really good. So he's going to use some of his enhanced puppets that he's been saving up and play the theatre. He's always got to clear his hand. Oh, and Noah as well. So, yeah, definitely he has to clear his hand for that to happen. But, I mean, this is what puppets do well, right? Just really good at dealing with these, like, low boards. But, you know, they're not stable troops. Obviously, Noah is, so we're going to have to deal with Noah. we find Olivia. We're going to dig again. We put the expensive Neptune back because we've got the cheaper ones coming out. Unfortunately, what I realise is that it still comes back as the expensive one because it wasn't discounted by the fanfare Fennie when it was played, right? So that's just one small detail to remember. Definitely, if you're wondering about that. Now here, at this stage of the game, guys, this is where I make quite a big mistake because I'm looking at his board and I'm thinking, right, the puppet is going to die next turn, so I just need to clear the 3 units, right? But I totally forget that Zwei makes the puppet have ward, so you have to attack into it. So this was quite a costly turn, to be honest, because as you'll see here, we would have cleared up the board perfectly, but instead, because we then realised we had to take out the ward, Zwei gets to live. And then at this point, my mind is absolutely blown. Down comes Cocytus, guys. What is going on at this stage? I'm like, we're playing a puppet deck. Who the hell runs Cocytus? And now my mind is... By the way, it's not a bad idea. But now my mind is like completely blown. And the whole... Just where I was feeling comfortable with the misplay into Zwei and now Cocytus coming down, I'm like, no longer can I just sit here and outvalue him, right? I'm like, oh, now I'm on the clock. So I'm trying desperately to like find a way of kind of finishing this game. Now he plays the Orcus because he only needs, obviously, the one puppet to clear this. And the 13-13 comes down. So we are actually going to have to Twilight Dragon this board. Twilight Dragon generally is a very good answer to Orcus, by the way. But obviously we've got this 4-drop. So we're going to use our last Evo on Ruby to clear this. And this feels like my last kind of chance, really, to have that kind of proactive board on him. I feel like anything past this point, we're going to be in trouble. And he plays Olivia and finds the 1-drop to be able to play alongside it and uses his final Evo point as well. And that really does put us in a lot of trouble at this stage. So we're going to play Neptune now. I mean, again, really great answers you get with Neptune. We can play the Draconic Strike, okay. But you can see we're getting desperate now. We're getting desperate, and he's drawing deeper and deeper into his deck. And we're like, are we actually going to have any sort of hope here? And I'm looking at my board and I'm thinking, what can I do here on 10? So I actually think, what if we draw with... What if we make the deck cheaper and then draw with Dragon Sign? And we find the Twilight Dragon, guys. Actually was the one thing we played for and we actually got it, which is really funny. But he managed to find the Soul Rider and finish the game. So I thought that was quite a good game to show. Obviously, I had the misplay in the middle and I was not expecting Cocytus, but it showed some really good back and forth and showed what you can do as well with the deck. Okay, so next up we have got ourselves some Swordcraft. So we're going to go hard for the on the mulligan. We just keep the actual leaf fang there. We've got some 2-drops to be able to answer early boards, which is quite good. We're going to actually play out a proactive Orca here. Now, he has got the Samurai, so he's able to clear the board. I'm going to just draw. And again, didn't manage to find any more ramp, but we can now evolve, so we can Louis Fang this board. This Zirconia, I don't love this. I know it's awkward when you're going first with Sword, like whether you... Because you have to wait for turn 5 for Zirconia. Playing it out proactively like that, I'm not a big fan of, but maybe you just didn't have... maybe you just didn't have another option, I'm not sure. Now, here we see, because we save the coin this time, we can play a turn 7 card. And I think this is a really... When you're going second, ideally you want to get 1 ramp off and then use the coin into Neptune. I think that's or Olivia. I think that's a really great play. And what that means with Neptune now that obviously the heal is back, is fully online. Now, he does get a really good tempo play here. And what we do here is a really inefficient play, guys. So it probably was a very greedy turn this turn. It probably wasn't right to get Fennie down. It's just I'm playing in a way where I'm just trying to get Fennie off as early as possible to be able to reap back the value. But actually, looking at the board state against Sword, that was, you know, it wasn't great, to be honest. And he goes ahead and just super evos that out. So we are down to 11. So we're going to Olivia here. And we find the seasoned Merman, but we actually just go ahead and use the AoE and make the 2-drop spell cost 0 so that we can play that, and therefore we've got second target for the Super Evo. So, but there were kind of 2 players there, both made sense. But I quite liked this play. It's quite a nice way of using that, by the way, that to make a 2 cost 0, so you can play it with not needing any player points. Really like that combo. So he does get Amelia off, and that puts barriers down, and he's going to mean that he's going to clear this board and still have 1 unit barriered up as well. So that is usually the type of turn where Twilight Dragon's very good. It's very good against Amelia, very good against those barrier boards. Now, he does have 1 Evo point left. Does he actually use it here? No, he doesn't. I don't love this play, to be honest, because what we're doing is we're playing Olivia into something that already had Storm. But I guess at this stage, I just wanted to like get the pressure on, really, to sort of start to threaten lethal. Finds his next Amalia, and surely now we're going to see... Oh, no, he doesn't. So he goes with a defensive play, thinking that he's seen a lot of AoE from us. Maybe he just thought that we'd have to hit in there, but we have plenty of AoE in this deck. And managed to finish him off. GG. Okay, so next up we have got Forestcraft. So we kept Fennie, and we also kept Phylene and the Strike there to kind of try to deal with some early game aggro. So we do draw into Louis Feng, though, in turn 1, so that's pretty good. Now, we can use Ruby here as a last chance to try and find Dragon Sign. Okay, down comes Carbuncle. And we will trade here. We generally don't push first because we are playing... for control, and we don't want Forest to get any chip damage on us. We want to minimize that. I mean, obviously we've got good heal, but we've got to be careful. Definitely get rid of the Genesis Dragon. That is a card that you want to be getting discounted, right, by Fennie. So that's another good use of Ruby right there. So Titania comes down. And now we can Louis Feng into the Evo and get that ramp going. We actually choose to use use the spell there to remove it and keep Louis Feng as her high health as possible. Forces Forest to actually use some resources to get rid of, you know, the high health units. Whereas if it was down to 1, we know they can just ping it off with a fairy. So no need to Evo there with Olivia. Thanks to the Orca. And the new card there, coming into good use. Combo 3, doing 2 lots of 2 damage. He's able to clear the board up nicely. Finally get that Fennie down. It just feels so good. Once you've got her down... If you can get her down turn 8, you start to feel so much more confident, and obviously our health is still high, but obviously we are playing against Forestcraft, so we know he can kill us from 20 if he pulls the pieces together. Now, Super Evo here means that we clear the board without even needing the White Frost. Now, we actually use the White Frost, I think, to make his hand more expensive. Maybe we should have waited for next turn to do that, but... With the clear board, I kind of just thought, here's a good opportunity. So imagine how that feels as Forestcraft. Two costed fairies. 3-costed Garden Allure. So a draw turn for him there. So we're going to go and do the same this turn. Draconic Strike, very nice against Forest as well. Still not actually played Neptune yet to get the heal down. But we are at 20 health, so there's no kind of like urgency to do it, I guess. So time to get the Genesis Dragon down and just really put that pressure on. Obviously, if we draw 2 Genesis, you can just finish the game. But we like to put that pressure on, knowing that the second one got drawn afterwards. So if he can't either deal with the board... Now, he does lock this down, but unlike the Swordcraft version that stops us from attacking from hand, the Forest version doesn't do that. And so therefore, double Genesis Dragon is enough to come on and end the game. GG. So there we have it, guys. There's the deck. You see the QR code in the top if you want to go ahead and copy the deck. One thing that you can play around with is I've got 1 copy of Odin. You can have a 3rd copy of Ruby if you want more early game. Or you can equally play a copy of, is it Burnite, which is kind of an interesting card because it gives you another AoE clear, but it also puts your opponent on a health clock if you Super Evo it, meaning that Genesis Dragons, for example, can come on and don't even need to Evo, right, to kind of do damage from, because you basically chip it down to like 18 and you can double Genesis Dragon. So that's another option as well, a little bit of flexibility there. But I think other than that, outside of that, I think the rest of the deck is pretty solid, to be honest. So I hope you enjoy that one. Take it to Ladder and see. And let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this, then please subscribe to the channel for more meta tier lists. We've got plenty of game guides coming this season and interesting Shadowverse content. So thanks again, as always, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.